Every garden designer I ever meet asks me the same question. How do you get the bigger jobs, the high end clients? And I suppose the answer to this isn't really that straightforward. I suppose everybody's looking for the magic bullet. They want me to say, well, look, you do X, Y, and Z, and it's guaranteed you're going to get all the big projects, and you're going to become a famous designer, and it's fantastic. But obviously, that's not really the case. You have to do a number of different things. And now there are some shortcuts. The very first shortcut I could recommend to you, and this was said to me many, many years ago, if you really want to get the high end clients, well, you have to hang out where they hang out. You need to be in their world because the amazing thing about it is it doesn't matter how talented you are as a designer. The first thing people do very often is they look to see who's in their locality. I live quite far away from the main centre of wealth in Ireland, and there's lots of people who wouldn't even consider contacting me. Yet we'd have won the reputation, one of the better reputations in the whole country. So obviously that's not really viable for most people to move into that area. But it is interesting to kind of think, well, where do those people, um, where do they hang out? Where do they spend their time? And is there any way you can kind of connect with that? Now, the reality of working with higher value clients, the mindset is completely different. It's not really a case that they are saying, look, we're looking for value for money all the time. Obviously, they want value for money, but it's more important than that. What they want to know, A, is that can they trust you? B, are they being ripped off? I mean, that's really important to them. They don't know you from anybody else, but trust me, everybody in their lives is trying to get something more out of them, whether they are being sold a car or whether they're being sold a gym membership. Everybody's looking to try and get top dollar from the higher end clients. If you are honest and hardworking and be very straight with them, you stand a far better chance of working with them. Now, to work with high value clients, you have to remember you're working in their world and not your world. You know, I often say to myself, it's kind of funny, I couldn't afford me. I couldn't afford to employ me. Um, you need to think about that and let that set in if you can't even afford your own services. But that's because my services are, they're aimed at the high end market. But I don't live in that world. I only work there. But you also need to understand that what a high end client thinks as not a whole lot of money might be a phenomenal amount of money to you. And if you are going in and you're talking, you're recommending all these low cost options to the client, it's going to put them off instantly. What they're looking for is quality, but even ahead of quality, they're looking for trust. They want to know they can trust you. They want to know that you're going to do a very good project, and moreover, all their friends are going to think that you've done a really good project. Um, that's just the kind of world they live in. Typically speaking, though, to get the higher end, larger projects, it isn't one thing that you have to do. It's a series of things, and it's about being a professional. How professional can you be? And you have to be a professional in everything you do, every aspect of your job, from from answering the phone to showing up in time, your website, your branding, how you dress, all of these things are being judged. It may be the wrong thing to do, but it is the way the world works. You're being judged all the time. And your talent and your skill isn't really enough. It's everything else that goes behind it. Now, that doesn't mean you have to invent some, you know, false persona to impress people. In fact, I'd recommend the absolute opposite. Just be yourself. Because in the high end market, everybody's fake. Everybody's trying to play everybody else and act some other way. And if you go in with the approach of just being yourself, being straightforward, being honest, working hard and doing a really good job, um, you'll find that's very attractive to your clients. They don't see it in their lives. They might be a little bit skeptical at the start, but when they get to know you and realize, you're gonna basically do all the rules. You're going to tell people what you're going to do, and then you're going to do exactly what you said you were going to do in the first place. And this is very refreshing for these clients. So try to get everything right. Think about not just the very big things like how elaborate my designs are and how fantastic they are, but think about all the small things. Did you show up on time? Are you, really easy to talk to? Or, do you make their lives easier? Do you make their lives more pleasant? And or are you just more work, more hassle that they just don't need? This theory really could be applied to anybody. It doesn't matter whether it's a high end or a low end project. It's the same kind of process. And in fact, I would always argue it doesn't matter what size project you're doing, what size budget you're doing. You are the same person. You are the same professional person. You're treating everybody else with courtesy and respect. I don't care who they are. If you stick to that, it rubs off on everybody else. Very often, getting those higher end projects comes down to a little bit of luck. And you might probably get one lucky break. One person says, okay, well, look, will you take a chance in this garden? And it might be bigger than you've ever done, maybe multiples bigger than you've ever done. And you could be sitting on the fence thinking, am I ready for this? Could I do it? Could I not do it? That's a really important point in any designer's career. And the answer is yes, you are ready. Even if you're not ready, you just have to do it. Because once you get one of these projects over the line, you'll find others follow. They always do. And then you're just building on your reputation. Now, don't be worried if it doesn't happen for a while. These things will happen. But what you can be doing in the meantime, while you're waiting for your lightning to strike, is to be ready, be prepared, know exactly what you're going to do. And the best way to do that, by the way, is to treat your small projects just like you'd treat a huge big project. Behave the same way. Be super professional throughout. Over deliver. Deliver an experience to your clients, not just deliver the design. That's boring. It's a lot more than that. You've got to deliver an experience for your clients. They have to say, okay, yes, our garden is amazing. We absolutely love it. But moreover, I loved working with Andrew. He was amazing. We had great fun, and he surprised us all the time and constantly gave us more than we were asking for. Now you can do that on your simple small projects and just build them up as you go along. I did it for years, years and years and years. It didn't matter whether it was just dealing with a very simple small patio. I would try to do my very best job. I can't stress the importance of the small things, not just the big things. Walking into a house where they remove their shoes and you don't, even if they say to me, "Oh, don't bother removing shoes. That's fine." I always remove my shoes. Seems, trivial, utterly trivial on the scale of things, but it showed my client that, look, I respect your home, and I'm happy, yeah, if you're happy. So that's really the way it works. It's not really some magic bullet that's going to say, okay, yep, you've got higher value jobs, no problem. Chances are it's about you being as professional as you can, keeping your eyes open and being ready for that project to land on your doorstep. Being ready for it. So practice along the way, being professional, being organized, and then just taking that chance. When the opportunity arises, take the chance, grab it with both hands, and give it all you got.